What if the towering monuments of history, those grand structures we admire for their beauty and scale, aren't just silent testaments to the past, but instead, they're whispering secrets meant only for those who know how to listen? Imagine standing before the pyramids of Giza or the intricate carvings of Angkor Wat, oblivious to the hidden messages etched into their very foundations. For centuries, these architectural marvels have guarded mysteries in plain sight, their true meanings tucked away like coded letters from ancient minds. Rulers, architects, and artisans didn't just build these monuments to impress, they embedded symbols, ciphers, and even mathematical puzzles into stone, leaving behind a trail of breadcrumbs for the curious to follow. Today, we're pulling back the veil on 25 of history's most enigmatic structures, each one a time capsule of concealed knowledge. Some of these secrets were meant to honor the divine, others to outwit rivals, and a few, well, their purpose remains tantalizingly unsolved. Think of it like a global scavenger hunt where the clues are carved into temple walls, hidden beneath layers of gold, or even disguised as seemingly ordinary patterns. Why would a pharaoh encode star maps into the floor of his tomb? What forbidden message lies behind the weathered inscriptions of a medieval cathedral? The answers aren't just fascinating, they rewrite how we understand the ambitions and fears of civilizations long gone. This isn't just a journey through stone and mortar, it's a plunge into the minds of those who shaped history itself. Every curve, every symbol, every intentional flaw in these monuments tells a story, one that often contradicts the official records. Whether it's a forgotten language waiting to be deciphered or a strategic warning meant to outlast empires, these hidden messages connect us to the past in ways textbooks never could. So keep your eyes wide open as we unravel the codes, uncover the lost meanings, and step into the shadows of history's greatest architects. Because once you see these monuments through the lens of their secrets, you'll never look at them the same way again. Standing at the edge of the Giza Plateau, the Great Sphinx has stared silently across the desert for thousands of years, its stone gaze holding more questions than answers. But the most obvious mystery is the one you can't miss: the Sphinx's missing nose. Popular myth blames Napoleon's troops for shooting it off with cannon fire, but sketches from decades before his arrival show the nose already gone. The truth, historians point to an even older act of defiance: a Sufi Muslim cleric in the 14th century, outraged by locals offering sacrifices to the statue, who may have chiseled it away to desecrate what he saw as idolatry. Yet the missing nose is just the beginning. Beneath the Sphinx's massive paws, rumors of hidden chambers have swirled for centuries. The most tantalizing comes from Edgar Cayce, the so-called sleeping prophet, who claimed a secret hall of records lies buried below, filled with Atlantean knowledge. Modern technology adds fuel to the fireground. Penetrating radar has revealed anomalies, cavities that could be natural or man-made, sparking debates among archaeologists. Some researchers, like geologist Robert Schoch, argue weathering patterns on the Sphinx's body suggest it's far older than the accepted date of 2500 BC, possibly carved by a forgotten civilization millennia before the pharaohs. But why hide chambers or encode messages in stone? One theory suggests the Sphinx wasn't just a guardian but a marker, aligning with constellations during the age of Leo around 10,000 BC, as if shouting its true age to the sky. Others believe tunnels beneath it lead to undiscovered tombs or even lost libraries, their contents meant only for initiates. Whether the truth lies in eroded hieroglyphs, uncharted passages, or the whispers of ancient priests, one thing's clear: the Sphinx isn't just a statue. It's a riddle wrapped in limestone, daring us to dig deeper. The pyramids of Giza don't just dominate the skyline, they defy the very limits of ancient engineering. Built over 4,500 years ago, these colossal structures align with eerie precision to the cardinal points of the compass, with the Great Pyramid's north-facing side missing true north by just a fraction of a degree. Such accuracy would be impressive even with modern tools, but the builders achieved this using nothing more than the stars, simple plumb bobs, and an intimate knowledge of the heavens. The pyramid's layout mirrors the constellation Orion's belt, with the three main pyramids corresponding to the alignment of its stars, a celestial mirror meant to connect the pharaohs to the gods in the afterlife. Yet the mysteries don't end with their cosmic alignment. Hidden deep within the Great Pyramid are narrow, claustrophobic shafts that snake upward from the king's and queen's chambers. Initially dismissed as ventilation tunnels, these passages actually point directly to key stars Sirius, associated with the goddess Isis, and Orion's belt linked to Osiris. Were these shafts meant to guide the pharaoh's soul to the heavens, or did they serve as a symbolic bridge between earth and the divine? Even more puzzling is the absence of any exit points on the pyramid's outer walls, leaving their true purpose shrouded in debate. Then, in 2017, scientists using muon radiography, a technique that detects cosmic rays, uncovered something no one expected: a massive, previously unknown void above the Grand Gallery, stretching nearly 100 feet long. Dubbed the Big Void, this hidden chamber has ignited fierce speculation. Some researchers believe it could be a concealed burial chamber or a construction relic, while others wonder if it holds artifacts or even texts left deliberately unseen. The Egyptian authorities have remained cautious, restricting further exploration, leaving the void's secrets locked away for now. What makes these discoveries so fascinating isn't just their complexity, but the intention behind them. The builders didn't just stack stones, they encoded astronomical knowledge, spiritual beliefs, and possibly even warnings into the very fabric of the pyramid. From the mathematical perfection of its dimensions to the unexplained gaps in its structure, the Great Pyramid challenges our assumptions about ancient technology. Was it purely a tomb, a cosmic time capsule, or something far beyond our current understanding? Every unanswered question pulls us deeper into the enigma, proving that even after centuries of study, the pyramids still have stories left to tell. Far from the deserts of Egypt, another ancient marvel rises from the misty plains of England: Stonehenge. This ring of towering stones, some weighing as much as 25 tons, has puzzled historians for centuries. But beyond its massive scale, Stonehenge holds an auditory secret. Recent studies reveal that the arrangement of its stones creates a unique acoustic environment. When struck, the bluestones, the smaller inner rocks, produce a deep, resonant sound, almost like a gong. Archaeologists suggest these sonic properties weren't accidental. Some believe the site functioned as a prehistoric concert hall, where rituals and ceremonies were amplified by the stones themselves, turning the entire structure into a kind of Neolithic sound system. And then there's the alignment, Stonehenge's most famous feature. At dawn on the summer solstice, the rising sun perfectly aligns with the heel stone, casting a long shadow through the center of the circle. This precision isn't mere coincidence. The builders likely used the solstice as a calendar marker, signaling the changing seasons for agricultural or spiritual purposes. But here's the twist: Stonehenge isn't just about the summer solstice. The winter solstice sunset aligns with another key point in the circle, suggesting a duality, a balance between light and dark, life and death, encoded into the very bones of the monument. Meanwhile, across the Irish Sea, Newgrange offers its own celestial spectacle. Older than both Stonehenge and the pyramids of Giza, this massive passage tomb is crowned with a roof box, a small opening above the entrance. For just 17 minutes at sunrise during the winter solstice, a narrow beam of sunlight creeps through this opening, snaking down the 60-foot passageway to illuminate the inner chamber. It's as if the ancient builders captured the sun itself, channeling its light into the heart of darkness at the year's coldest moment. Why go to such lengths? Some scholars argue these alignments were acts of worship, meant to honor deities tied to the sun or the cycles of nature. Others think they served a more practical purpose, marking time with unerring accuracy in an era before clocks or calendars. But perhaps the most intriguing idea is that these monuments were more than just ceremonial sites. They could have been repositories of knowledge, encoding astronomical observations into stone so future generations wouldn't forget. Whether through sound, light, or silent alignment, Stonehenge and Newgrange speak a language we're only beginning to decode, one written not in words but in the movements of the heavens. High atop the Acropolis in Athens, the Parthenon stands as a monument to perfection, or so it seems. At first glance, its rows of towering Doric columns appear flawlessly straight, its surfaces precisely aligned. But look closer, every single element of this ancient temple is a masterpiece of deception, designed to trick the eye and celebrate the cunning of its creators. Take those seemingly straight columns, they actually curve ever so slightly outward, a technique called entosses. This wasn't a construction error. The architects knew perfectly straight lines would look curved to the human eye from a distance, so they built intentional imperfections to create the illusion of perfection. Even the temple's base isn't flat, it arches upward in the center to prevent it from appearing to sag under the weight of the massive structure. These subtle adjustments reveal an obsession with harmony that borders on mathematical obsession. Then there's the storytelling carved into the stone itself. The Parthenon's friezes, those intricate panels wrapping around the building, aren't just decorative. They're a political statement in marble. One section, the Panathenaic procession, shows a parade of Athenians carrying gifts to the goddess Athena. But woven into this sacred scene are whispers of Athenian dominance. Some scholars argue the frieze secretly commemorates Athens' victory over Persia, with the procession mirroring the real-life Panathenaic festival that celebrated the city's power. Even the arrangement of the gods on the frieze is telling. They're seated casually, as if at a theater, watching the mortals below. Was this a quiet jab at Persia's defeated leaders, forced to witness Athenian glory? But the boldest hidden message might lie in the very materials used. The Parthenon's white marble wasn't just for show, it was a flex. Athens had recently discovered vast marble quarries, and by plastering the city in this luminous stone, they were showing off their wealth and control over resources. Even the statue of Athena Parthenos inside, covered in gold, doubled as a treasury, reminding visitors that Athens wasn't just culturally superior, it was rich. Every angle, every curve, every carved figure was a calculated move in a high-stakes game of propaganda. The Parthenon wasn't just a temple, it was a carefully crafted mirage designed to make enemies tremble and citizens swell with pride. Proof that architecture could be as powerful as any army. Beneath the roaring crowds and blood-soaked sands of Rome's Colosseum lies a labyrinth of secrets, the Hypogeum. This underground network of tunnels and chambers wasn't just backstage for gladiators, it was a carefully orchestrated theater of deception. Trapdoors hidden beneath the arena floor could launch surprises into combat at any moment, wild beasts rising on mechanical lifts, scenery shifting to mimic forests or deserts, even gladiators appearing as if by magic. These engineering marvels weren't just for spectacle, they were psychological weapons. Imagine facing a lion in the arena, only for the ground to split open and release another predator behind you. The Hypogeum turned battles into immersive dramas, where every gasp from the crowd was choreographed by unseen hands. But the Colosseum's secrets aren't all about machinery. Scratched into its walls are faint, frantic markings, graffiti left by the gladiators themselves. Some are simple boasts. Celadus the Thracian made this, or Hilarius, victor of 5 fights. Others are darker. One inscription, barely visible near a holding cell, reads, "We who are about to die salute you," a haunting echo of the doomed men forced to entertain the masses. These scratches are more than vandalism. They're raw, unfiltered voices from the past, a stark contrast to the official grandeur carved into the Colosseum's facade. And then there's the seating. The Colosseum wasn't just a venue, it was a mirror of Roman society. the emperor's box, draped in purple, sat closest to the action while senators perched just below. Further up, the wealthy patricians filled marble benches, and higher still, the plebeians crowded onto wooden planks. At the very top, women, foreigners, and slaves literally pushed to the margins. This wasn't arbitrary. Every tier reinforced who mattered in Rome, broadcasting power dynamics as clearly as the battles below. Even the ticket system, small pottery shards called tesserae, assigned seats by social rank. Why go to such lengths? Because the Colosseum wasn't just a stadium. It was propaganda in stone. The hypogeum's tricks awed the masses, the graffiti humanized the spectacle, and the seating reminded everyone of their place. From the emperor's box, the message was clear. Rome controlled life, death, and even the boundaries between them. The real show wasn't just the bloodshed, it was the empire itself performing its dominance for all to see. Angkor Wat, the sprawling temple complex in Cambodia, doesn't just impress with its scale, it baffles with its mysteries. Walk its corridors and you'll find bas-reliefs depicting epic battles, celestial dancers, and dinosaurs. That's right, among the intricate carvings, one figure stands out, a creature resembling a stegosaurus, complete with bony plates along its spine. How could 12th century artisans have known about creatures extinct for millions of years? Some theorists argue it's proof of lost knowledge or even time travel, while skeptics dismiss it as a misinterpreted boar or lizard. But the dinosaur isn't the only enigma here. Look up from the temple grounds and you'll notice something startling. Angkor Wat's layout mirrors the Draco constellation, its towers and causeways aligning with the stars as they would have appeared in 10,500 BC. This wasn't accidental. The builders, deeply attuned to astronomy, may have encoded a celestial map into the temple's design, tying it to the era when Draco held the position of the North Pole star. Why, some suggest it was a spiritual anchor linking the earthly realm to the heavens. Others believe it marked a cyclical view of time, where history repeats itself in grand cosmic cycles. Then there's the temple's most haunting feature, its westward orientation. Unlike most Hindu temples facing east toward the rising sun, Angkor Wat opens to the west, a direction associated with death and the setting sun. Was this a deliberate nod to its eventual transformation from a Vishnu temple to a Buddhist site? Or did it symbolize something darker, like the empire's looming decline? The answer might lie in the temple's hidden corridors, where faded pigments and eroded carvings hint at stories we've yet to fully decipher. Angkor Wat isn't just a relic of the past, it's a puzzle waiting to be solved. Every carving, every alignment, every intentional break in symmetry whispers a question. Were the builders preserving knowledge they shouldn't have had? Were they leaving clues for future generations? Or were they simply trying to make sense of a universe far more vast and far stranger than we've ever imagined? Hidden deep within Jordan's rose-red cliffs, Petra's Al-Kosneh seems to erupt from the stone itself, a towering facade so precise, so impossibly intricate, that local legends insisted it could only be the work of genies. But behind that famous carved entrance lies one of archaeology's great unresolved debates. While most assume this ornate structure served as a royal tomb for the Nabatean king Aratus IV, no burial chamber has ever been confirmed inside. The truth might be far more theatrical. Recent laser scans reveal anomalies, voids, and chambers hidden behind the iconic facade, inaccessible without tunneling through solid rock. Some researchers believe the real tomb lies deeper, perhaps buried beneath the floor, while others argue Al-Kosneh was never meant for the dead at all. Its Arabic name, the Treasury, hints at another purpose, a ceremonial vault for sacred texts or relics, its imposing exterior designed to deter thieves with the sheer spectacle of its grandeur. The illusions don't end there. Stand directly before the doorway at dawn during the summer solstice, and you'll witness sunlight piercing through a carefully positioned opening above, illuminating the inner sanctum for just minutes each year. This celestial alignment suggests the Nabateans didn't just carve buildings, they engineered moments of magic, blurring the line between architecture and astronomy. Even the facade's placement is a calculated trick of perspective. Approach through the narrow, thick canyon, and the structure seems to grow larger as you near it, an effect achieved by gradually widening the pathway. Every detail, from the erosion-resistant upper carvings to the acoustic properties of the inner chamber, points to a culture that wielded stone like a master sculptor wields clay. Half a world away, another monument thrives on deception, the Taj Mahal. At first glance, it's the epitome of symmetry, its white marble domes and minarets mirrored perfectly along a central axis. But look closer, the cenotaphs, those false tombs visible to visitors in the main chamber, are deliberately offset. The real sarcophagi of Mumtaz Mahal and Shah Jahan lie in a hidden crypt below, aligned precisely with the building's true center. This architectural sleight of hand served dual purposes, protecting the actual graves from desecration while creating a symbolic ascent from the earthly illusion above to the eternal reality beneath. Then there's the persistent legend of the Black Taj. Across the Yamuna River, traces of a moonlit garden and ruined foundations fuel theories that Shah Jahan planned a mirror-image mausoleum in black marble, a shadow twin for himself. While most scholars dismiss this as myth, satellite imagery shows symmetrical earthworks matching the Taj's dimensions, and period accounts describe shipments of rare black stone to the site. Whether the Shah's ambitions outpaced his resources or political turmoil halted construction, the idea lingers, two monuments locked in eternal dialogue, one of light, one of darkness, reflecting the emperor's own duality as both grieving husband and ruthless ruler. Both Petra and the Taj Mahal share a common thread: they're monuments that refuse to reveal their full truths. One hides its purpose behind layers of legend and inaccessible voids, the other balances on the knife edge between symmetry and subterfuge. They challenge us to question not just what we see, but what the builders wanted us to see, and what they hoped we'd never discover. Easter Island's Moai statues have long been icons of mystery, their massive stone faces staring inland as if guarding secrets. But what few realize is that these towering figures are just the tip of the iceberg, literally. Excavations in recent years revealed something startling. Many moai have full bodies buried up to their shoulders in earth. These torsos, some over 20 feet tall, are carved with intricate petroglyphs, spirals, fishhooks, and crescent motif, symbols that might encode ancestral stories or territorial claims. Why hide them? One theory suggests erosion gradually buried the statues over centuries, while another posits the islanders deliberately submerged them to stabilize the figures during periods of conflict or environmental crisis. Then there's the Rongorongo script, the island's undeciphered writing system. Scratched onto wooden tablets, these glyphs resemble a chaotic mix of human figures, plants, and geometric shapes. Despite countless attempts, no one has cracked their meaning. Some linguists believe Rongorongo isn't just language but a mnemonic device, a way to chant genealogies or myths aloud rather than read them silently. Others argue the tablets hold dire warnings. One recurring symbol, a frigate bird, appears alongside what looks like a canoe filled with stick figures, a possible record of the island's ecological collapse, as overpopulation and deforestation led to famine and societal breakdown. But the most practical secret might lie beneath the moai's feet. Researchers mapping the island noticed something curious. The statues cluster near natural freshwater seeps, their positions aligning with underground streams. In a place with no rivers or lakes, this wasn't coincidence. The moai may have served as monumental signposts, guiding communities to vital water sources during droughts. Some even theorize the statues' hollow bases acted as cisterns, channeling rainwater through hidden channels. These revelations transform how we see the moai. They're not just silent sentinels of a lost culture. They're a multi-layered puzzle, part burial marker, part archive, part survival tool. Every buried torso, every cryptic glyph, every strategic placement whispers the same urgent lesson. On an island pushed to its limits, knowledge wasn't just power. It was the difference between life and oblivion. Rising from the Yucatan jungle like a stepped pyramid of riddles, Chichen Itza's El Castillo isn't just a monument, it's a meticulously engineered timepiece. Twice a year, during the spring and autumn equinoxes, something extraordinary happens. As the sun sets, the pyramid's northwest corner casts triangular shadows down its staircase, merging with carved serpent heads at the base to create the illusion of a massive, undulating snake slithering toward the earth. This celestial performance wasn't accidental. The Maya aligned the pyramid's 91 steps on each side, 364 in total, plus the platform at the top to mirror the solar year, turning stone into a living calendar. But the true genius lies in the shadow's precision. They appear for just minutes, a fleeting moment of connection between earth and sky that required mathematical mastery centuries ahead of its time. Then there's the secret beneath your feet. In 2015, researchers using electrical resistivity imaging discovered a vast, water-filled cenote, a natural sinkhole hidden directly below El Castillo's foundations. For the Maya, cenotes were sacred portals to the underworld, places of ritual and sacrifice. The choice to build over this one wasn't just practical, it was symbolic. The pyramid physically bridged the three realms of Maya cosmology: the heavens represented by its height, the earth its middle layers, and Xibalba, the watery underworld beneath. Some scholars believe offerings, perhaps even human remains, were lowered into the cenote through hidden passages, though the depth and instability of the chamber have kept its contents out of reach. But El Castillo's magic isn't just visual. Stand at the base and clap your hands, and the echo doesn't sound like an echo at all. It mimics the eerie cry of the Quetzal, a bird revered as the embodiment of the feathered serpent god Kukulkan. This acoustic trick, achieved through the precise angle and spacing of the steps, transforms sound into divine communication. Even whispers at one end of the Great Ball Court, over 400 feet away, can be heard clearly at the other, a feat of engineering that still baffles acousticians today. Together, these elements reveal El Castillo as more than a temple. It was a multisensory experience designed to awe. The descending serpent proclaimed the god's presence, the hidden cenote whispered of unseen forces, and the Quetzal's cry blurred the line between human and divine. Every shadow, every echo, every submerged chamber served one purpose: to make the abstract tangible, turning faith into something you could see, hear, and feel. In a world without written records for most, the pyramid itself was the scripture. The Pantheon in Rome doesn't just defy time, it plays with it. Step inside, and your eyes are immediately drawn upward to the oculus, that massive circular opening in the dome's center. At noon on April 21st, the city's founding date, sunlight pours through this opening like a spotlight, striking a precisely positioned metal grille above the entrance. This isn't just a pretty effect, it's a celestial clock marking the anniversary of Rome's birth with unerring accuracy. But the solar alignment doesn't stop there. During the winter solstice, the sun's arc is so low that its light creeps along the dome's interior like a golden serpent, illuminating niches that once held statues of gods. Some scholars argue these alignments were intentional, turning the Pantheon into a temple where architecture and astronomy became one. Then there's the dome itself, an engineering marvel that's whispered secrets for centuries. At first glance, its curvature appears flawless, but hidden within its concrete are layers of deliberate deception. The higher you go, the lighter the material becomes, with the uppermost sections mixed with porous volcanic stone to reduce weight without sacrificing strength. Even more astonishing, the dome's height and diameter are identical, 150 Roman feet, creating a perfect sphere that could fit snugly inside the building. This wasn't just aesthetic, it symbolized the cosmos, with the oculus as the all-seeing eye of the heavens. Modern scans reveal even subtler tricks. Slight indentations in the dome's coffers, those sunken square panels, correct optical illusions, ensuring the curvature looks perfectly smooth from below. But the real enigma might lie beneath your feet. The Pantheon's floor, often overlooked by tourists, is a mosaic of geometric patterns, circles within squares, intersecting lines that some claim form hidden occult symbols. One recurring motif, the vesica piscis, an almond-shaped overlap of two circles, was sacred to ancient mystics, representing the intersection of divine and earthly realms. Historians debate whether these patterns were purely decorative or held deeper meaning, but one thing's certain: the floor's design mirrors the dome above, grounding the celestial in the terrestrial. Even the materials tell a story: imported marbles from Egypt, Greece, and North Africa, a silent testament to Rome's sprawling power. The Pantheon's genius lies in its layers. It's a sundial, a cosmic metaphor, a display of imperial might, and possibly a cipher for esoteric knowledge, all wrapped into one seamless structure. From the oculus pouring rain or snow onto the floor below, a reminder of nature's power, to the whisper of hidden geometries, this isn't just a building. It's a dialogue between earth and sky, stone and light, the seen and the unseen. And after 2,000 years, it's still teaching us how to look up and wonder. Stretching over 13,000 miles across mountains and deserts, the Great Wall of China is often called the only man-made structure visible from space, a myth, by the way, but one that speaks to its staggering scale. Yet for all its fame, the wall guards secrets far stranger than folklore. Take its mortar, for instance. While most ancient structures crumble over centuries, certain sections of the wall stand unnervingly intact. The reason? A recipe that sounds more like kitchen alchemy than engineering: sticky rice. Mixed with slaked lime, this glutinous concoction created a mortar so durable it withstood earthquakes and invasions. Analysis shows the organic compounds in the rice inhibited bacterial growth, essentially turning the wall into a self-preserving monument. Forget stone and iron, the real strength of China's greatest defense might have been takeout. But the wall's design hides even cleverer tricks. In remote stretches of Gansu province, gaps appear in the battlements at seemingly random intervals. To the untrained eye, they look like construction errors or erosion. But when researchers mapped these missing segments against ancient star charts, something astonishing emerged. The gaps align perfectly with constellations important to Chinese astronomers, particularly the Big Dipper. Some historians believe these voids acted as a celestial calendar, helping garrisons track seasons for planting or predicting nomadic raids. Others suggest they were symbolic, embedding the heavens into the wall's very fabric to remind defenders of the empire's divine mandate. Either way, it's a reminder that the wall wasn't just a barrier, it was a canvas for the cosmos. Then there's the darkest legend, whispers of workers entombed within the wall itself. Ancient texts like Sima Qian's Records of the Grand Historian describe how convicts and conscripts who died during construction were buried in the ramparts as both punishment and ritual. While no mass graves have been conclusively found, modern ground-penetrating radar has detected anomalies, dense, organic, rich patches deep within the wall's core. Could these be the remains of the lost builders? Archaeologists remain divided, but the myth persists, fueled by eerie discoveries like the two early 20th century skeletons found walled up with a brick-making mold near Liaoning. Whether fact or folklore, the stories serve a grim purpose. They transform the wall from mere stone into a monument of sacrifice, where every brick whispers of the price paid for its existence. What makes these hidden layers so compelling isn't just their mystery, it's their contradiction. The wall was both fortress and temple, built by laborers yet touched by the stars, designed to repel invaders but also to converse with the sky. From rice mortar stronger than steel to voids that map the heavens, it challenges us to see beyond the obvious, because the Great Wall wasn't just built to keep people out. It was engineered to tell a story, one we're still learning to read. Perched high in the Andes, Machu Picchu's terraces cling to the mountains like stairways to the clouds. But this lost city of the Incas is far more than a feat of engineering. It's a symphony of sacred geometry. Every structure aligns with celestial events, and the entire layout mirrors the constellation Cygnus, the celestial swan revered by the Inca as a bridge between worlds. The Temple of the Three Windows, for example, frames the sunrise during the winter solstice with uncanny precision. Its trapezoidal openings designed to capture the first light as it spills over the peaks. But the real marvel lies beneath your feet. Laser mapping has revealed a network of hidden tunnels and water channels, some leading to untouched chambers deep within the mountain. These weren't just practical, they were spiritual, mirroring the Inca belief in Pacha, the underworld where water was the sacred lifeblood connecting all realms. At the heart of the city stands the Intihuatana stone, a carved granite pillar often called the hitching post of the sun. Far from just a sundial, this enigmatic monument functions as a multi-dimensional clock. During the equinoxes, the sun strikes the stone at such an angle that it casts no shadow at all, as if time itself pauses. Archaeoastronomers suggest the stone's four corners align with the solstices, while its irregular angles track the movements of Pleiades, a star cluster central to Inca agriculture. Even more intriguing, the stone's vibrations. When touched, it emits a faint hum, a phenomenon caused by its unique mineral composition resonating with the Earth's magnetic field. Was this deliberate? The Inca might have viewed it as the mountain's voice, a literal connection between stone and cosmos. Then there's the mystery of the missing mortar. Machu Picchu's walls are built with such precision that a razor blade can't slip between the stones, yet they wiggle slightly during earthquakes, absorbing shocks rather than cracking. This dancing architecture hints at a profound understanding of seismic activity, as if the builders anticipated the mountain's tremors. Some scholars believe the city's very location was chosen for its geological stability, a rare confluence of bedrock and natural springs that made it both sacred and practical. But perhaps the most haunting secret is Machu Picchu's abandonment. Unlike other Inca sites, it shows no signs of battle or plague. Instead, the evidence suggests a deliberate, orderly departure. Broken pottery found near the gates may mark a final offering, a ceremonial closure sealing the city's sacred energy within its stones. Combine that with the tunnels leading nowhere, the celestial alignments, and the whispering Intihuatana, and a pattern emerges. Machu Picchu wasn't just a city. It was a machine, one designed to harmonize earth, sky, and time itself. Whether as an observatory, a temple, or a vault for esoteric knowledge, its true purpose lingers just out of reach, wrapped in the mist and the mute wisdom of stone. The Alhambra's walls don't just dazzle with color, they hum with hidden equations. Every tile, every arch, every inch of this Moorish palace in Granada is a masterclass in mathematical seduction. Take the famous Mucana's ceilings, those honeycomb-like structures that seem to drip from the vaults like frozen starlight. At first glance, they're pure ornament, but look closer. Their repeating patterns aren't random, they're built on fractal geometry, shapes that repeat infinitely at smaller and smaller scales. Modern mathematicians have identified tessellations here that anticipate concepts like Penrose tiles by 7 centuries, proving the Nasrid builders didn't just decorate, they encoded the language of the universe into plaster and mortar. Then there's the calligraphy, flowing Arabic verses woven so seamlessly into floral motifs that most visitors stroll right past them. These aren't mere quotes from the Quran. Some inscriptions are riddles, like one in the Hall of the Ambassadors that reads, "Be sparing with words, and you will go in peace." Was this a warning to diplomats negotiating under these very arches? Others are poetic boasts. "There is no conqueror but Allah," a phrase repeated nearly 9,000 times throughout the palace, often hidden in plain sight along doorframes or fountains. The artisans played a visual game of hide and seek, embedding words so they only reveal themselves when light strikes at certain angles or when viewed from specific vantage points. But the Alhambra's most audacious secret might be its water. The Court of the Lions, with its iconic fountain, isn't just a pretty centerpiece. Its 12 marble lions are arranged in a perfect circle, each one a lunar month, while the 4 water channels dividing the courtyard symbolize the rivers of paradise, or perhaps the cardinal directions. Engineers recently discovered the fountain's hydraulics operate on a gravity-fed system so precise that water flows silently, maintaining perfect balance without pumps. Even the sound was calculated. The trickle was tuned to harmonize with the call to prayer from the nearby mosque, turning the entire space into a resonant instrument. What makes these layers so mesmerizing isn't their complexity, but their intent. The Alhambra wasn't built to overwhelm, it was designed to invite discovery. A mathematician sees recursion in the tiles, a poet finds verses in the shadows, a hydrologist marvels at the whispers of water. This palace refuses to be just one thing. It's a love letter to geometry, a theological manifesto, and a stealthy display of political might, all wrapped in the guise of beauty. To walk its halls is to eavesdrop on a conversation between art and science, one that's been unfolding for 800 years. In the misty highlands of Java, 2 ancient temples stand as silent philosophers, one teaching the path to enlightenment, the other whispering epic tales of morality. Borobudur, the world's largest Buddhist temple, isn't just a structure, it's a 3-dimensional guidebook to nirvana. Imagine climbing its 9 terraces not as a tourist but as a pilgrim ascending through the stages of consciousness. The lower levels, carved with scenes of worldly desire, pleasures and punishments that tether souls to the cycle of rebirth, ascend further and the reliefs shift, showing the Buddha's previous lives as he learns compassion. Reach the topmost circular terraces, stripped of all ornamentation, and you're surrounded by 72 perforated stupas, each housing a statue of the Buddha, barely visible through the stone lattices. This was intentional. The design mimics a mandala, a cosmic diagram representing the universe's harmony, with the final, empty central stupa symbolizing enlightenment itself, formless beyond earthly representation. But here's the genius Borobudur, entire layout mirrors the human mind's journey. The clockwise pilgrimage route forces visitors to engage every relief, moving from ignorance to wisdom in a physical echo of spiritual progress. Less than 30 miles away, Prambanan Temple offers a stark contrast, a Hindu masterpiece where every inch pulses with narrative. Its towering spires are draped in over 500 relief panels recounting the Ramayana, but these aren't just pretty illustrations. Look closer. The hero Rama's arrows always pierce demons from the left, a symbolic representation of righteousness striking evil's sinister side. The Latin sinistra literally means left. Meanwhile, the villain Ravana's 10 heads aren't just a display of power. They're a warning about the dangers of ego, each head representing a different vice. The artisans hid even subtler lessons in the spacing. Scenes of battle are cramped and chaotic, while depictions of virtue, like Sita's loyalty, are given breathing room, as if to say, chaos diminishes the spirit while righteousness expands it. What ties these 2 monuments together isn't just geography, it's intentional duality. Borobudur's silent, abstract ascent to enlightenment contrasts with Prambanan's vibrant, story-driven morality plays. One temple speaks in riddles of emptiness, the other in vivid parables of action. Yet both share a common thread, their pedagogical marvels using architecture as a teaching tool. Borobudur's pilgrims didn't just learn Buddhism, they walked its path. Prambanan's visitors didn't merely hear the Ramayana, they saw its ethical dilemmas carved in stone, an ancient equivalent of virtual reality. These temples weren't built to be admired from afar. They were designed to transform those who dared to engage with them, proving that the greatest monuments aren't just made of stone, but of ideas waiting to be unlocked. Lady Liberty's torch may shine as a beacon of freedom, but her most telling details are tucked away in the shadows. Few visitors notice the broken chains half hidden beneath her robes, their links shattered at her feet, a deliberate symbol of emancipation so controversial that it was downplayed for decades. Originally, sculptor Frederick August Bartholdi envisioned the chains more prominently, even draping them across her hand in early designs. But American backers, wary of offending post-Civil War sensibilities, insisted they be minimized, transforming them into a quiet rebellion against oppression rather than a bold declaration. Then there's the torch, or rather torches. The flame we see today isn't the original. The first torch, corroded beyond repair, was replaced in 1986 with a copper replica covered in 24-karat gold leaf. But the original held secrets of its own. Its windows were arranged in a precise geometric pattern, echoing Masonic symbols of enlightenment, a nod to Bartholdi's ties to the French Freemasons. Even the statue's crown, with its 7 spikes representing the 7 seas and continents, mirrors Masonic numerology, where 7 signifies cosmic harmony. Some historians argue these choices weren't accidental. They were part of a broader vision. The statue's full title, Liberty, Enlightening the World, wasn't just poetic. It riffed on Masonic ideals of progress, breaking the chains of ignorance, but the most startling detail might be her face. While most assume Bartholdi modeled liberty after a generic Greco-Roman goddess, persistent rumors suggest a real-life muse, his mother. Early sketches show an uncanny resemblance with the same stern brow and strong jawline. If true, it adds a deeply personal layer to the monument, a son immortalizing the woman who shaped him, just as he aimed to shape the ideals of a nation. From hidden chains to coded geometry, the Statue of Liberty isn't just a tourist attraction. She's a palimpsest of meanings, her copper skin etched with the quiet struggles and secret allegiances of her creators. Every fold of her robe, every ray of her crown whispers a question: who gets to define freedom, and who gets to hide its costs? The Leaning Tower of Pisa doesn't just defy gravity, it plays with it. While most assume its famous tilt was a construction mishap, the truth is far more intriguing. The tower's lean wasn't an accident, it was a calculated risk. Built on soft, unstable soil, the medieval engineers knew the ground would shift, yet they chose the site deliberately. Why? Because beneath the tower's foundation lies a hidden layer of time capsule-sealed vessels containing relics, coins, and even parchments dating back to the 12th century. These weren't just ceremonial offerings, they were structural insurance. By burying dense materials like lead and stone in strategic positions, the builders attempted to counteract the tilt as it developed, turning the tower into a self-correcting experiment in real time. But the tower's secrets don't stop underground. Climb its 294 steps and you'll notice something odd. The spiral staircase widens slightly as you ascend. This wasn't a design flaw, it was acoustic engineering. The varying widths create harmonic resonances, amplifying certain frequencies while dampening others. Some historians believe this was intentional, allowing bells now removed to ring with perfect clarity across Pisa. Others argue the staircase's geometry served a more esoteric purpose, mimicking the Fibonacci sequence, a mathematical pattern revered in medieval Europe as a symbol of divine proportion. Then there's Galileo. Legend claims he dropped weights from the tower's balcony to prove his theories about gravity, but no contemporary records confirm this. What we do know is that the tower's lean made it an irresistible laboratory. Its tilt provided a natural incline plane, perfect for rolling objects to test acceleration, a detail Galileo likely exploited. Whether the iconic experiment happened here or not, the tower's imperfection became a metaphor for scientific curiosity. Sometimes the greatest discoveries come from embracing the unstable. Today, the tower's tilt is carefully monitored, stabilized by counterweights and subterranean cables. Yet it still leans, a reminder that even flaws can become defining strengths. From its hidden foundation caches to its whispered role in physics, the tower challenges us to rethink what we call mistakes. Maybe it wasn't built wrong. Maybe it was built brilliantly, a monument not to precision but to adaptability. The Forbidden City looms in the heart of Beijing like a vast red and gold chessboard. Its 9,999.5 rooms spread across a labyrinth of courtyards and corridors. That missing half room wasn't an oversight, it was a deliberate act of humility. Ancient Chinese cosmology reserved 10,000 rooms for the celestial realm, a number symbolizing infinity and divine perfection. By stopping just shy, the Ming emperors acknowledged their earthly limitations, bowing to the heavens even as they ruled the Middle Kingdom. Yet this numerical puzzle is just the first clue in a much larger architectural cipher. Look down as you walk the palace grounds and you'll notice something strange. Not a single puddle, even during heavy rains. The Forbidden City's drainage system is a masterpiece of hydraulic engineering hidden in plain sight. Its slight elevation, rising just 2 meters from south to north, allows water to flow naturally toward concealed channels. These gutters, disguised as decorative ridges under the stone balustrades, connect to an underground network of brick tunnels that funnel rainwater away with eerie efficiency. The system was so advanced that it still functions flawlessly 6 centuries later, outlasting dynasties and modern storms alike, but the real stroke of genius. The channels aren't just practical, they're symbolic. Their serpentine paths mirror the veins of a dragon, the imperial emblem, turning the entire complex into a living organism breathing with the rhythms of nature. Now tilt your gaze upward. Notice anything missing. Despite the sprawling rooftops, birds rarely land here. The reason lies in the tiles themselves. Each glazed golden roof is sloped at a precise 52-degree angle, too steep for birds to perch comfortably. The glaze, fired at ultra-high temperatures, creates a surface so smooth that claws can't gain traction. But the deterrent goes deeper. The tile's vibrant yellow hue, reserved exclusively for the emperor, was achieved using a lead-based pigment that emits faint ultrasonic vibrations when heated by the sun, frequencies imperceptible to humans but highly irritating to birds. Whether by accident or design, the Forbidden City became a no-fly zone, ensuring that even the skies bowed to imperial authority. Every inch of this complex whispers dual meanings. The 9 rows of golden door studs, each represents the 9 generations of a noble lineage. The 5 marble bridges leading to the gate of supreme harmony. They embody the 5 Confucian virtues. Even the building materials carried hidden messages. The fragrant Nanmu wood used in the throne halls was so rare that its scent alone signaled privilege, while the golden bricks paving the floors, actually compressed clay polished to a mirror finish, were designed to echo underfoot, making every approaching subject sound like rolling thunder. The Forbidden City wasn't just a palace, it was a 3-dimensional manifesto. From the half-room acknowledging cosmic order to the bird-free roofs asserting dominance over nature, every detail reinforced a single unshakable truth. Here, humanity and heaven conversed, but only on the emperor's terms. Rising from the tidal flats of Normandy like a stone mirage, Mont Saint-Michel isn't just an island abbey, it's a fortress of tides and texts, where nature and human ingenuity conspire to guard secrets. Twice a day, the fastest tides in continental Europe transform the landscape, swallowing the causeway under 13 meters of seawater, cutting off all access. For centuries, this natural moat made the island impregnable, but the real genius lies in how the monks used these tides. Hidden beneath the abbey's cloisters, a labyrinth of cisterns and channels collects freshwater from rooftop runoff, while strategically placed sluice gates control the flow to flush out waste, a medieval sanitation system powered entirely by the rhythm of the ocean. Even the island's single gateway, designed with a steep ramp and right-angle turn, wasn't just defensive. It forced attackers to expose their unshielded sides to archers while navigating the rising tide. Inside the abbey's scriptorium, the walls whisper of a different kind of warfare. During the 9th century, as Viking raiders terrorized Europe, Mont Saint-Michel became a sanctuary for knowledge. Monks toiled by candlelight, copying ancient texts onto vellum, but they didn't just transcribe. Recent multispectral imaging has revealed layers of erased writing beneath familiar pages, a practice called palimpsesting. One overwritten manuscript, now deciphered, contained a startling deviation, an encrypted star chart mapping planetary positions for the year 894, centuries ahead of contemporary astronomy. Was this a smuggled bit of forbidden science, or a coded message meant only for initiates? The Abbey's library also holds the Book of Hours of Mont Saint-Michel, its margins crammed with tiny, frantic notations, financial records, weather observations, and even a recipe for ink made from crushed sea snails, suggesting the scriptorium doubled as a clandestine laboratory. Then there's the island's shadow role in modern conflict. During World War II, German forces occupied Mont Saint-Michel, convinced the Allies would never bomb a cultural treasure. What they didn't realize, the resistance had already turned the abbey's crypts into an intelligence hub. Local fishermen, exploiting tidal patterns only they understood, smuggled microfilm in hollowed-out loaves of bread to agents hidden among pilgrims. The abbey's maze of staircases and hidden chambers, built to confuse medieval invaders, now sheltered radio operators transmitting coded messages timed to the tides. Even the Germans' own anti-aircraft guns mounted on the ramparts were rendered useless twice daily. Floodwaters swamped their ammunition stores at high tide. From tidal clocks guiding medieval scribes to encrypted star maps and a resistant stronghold disguised as a tourist site, Mont Saint-Michel thrives on duality. It's both sanctuary and fortress, spiritual beacon and wartime chameleon. Every stone, every manuscript, every rising wave asks the same question. Is this a monument to faith or to the relentless ingenuity of those who refuse to surrender, to invaders, to ignorance, or even to time itself? The Hagia Sophia doesn't just dominate Istanbul's skyline, it hums with hidden voices. Beneath its colossal dome, one column stands apart from the rest. Press your ear to the so-called weeping column, and you'll hear a faint trickle of water even on the driest days. For centuries, pilgrims believed this moisture held healing powers, leaving behind thumbprints worn deep into the marble from desperate touches. But the truth is more mundane yet no less fascinating. The column's hollow core acts as a natural conduit for groundwater, channeling condensation from the building's ancient cisterns. Yet, science doesn't erase the magic. The column's smooth, sweat-like sheen still draws visitors who trace their fingers over its grooves, a tactile connection to centuries of hope. Then there's the graffiti, not modern vandalism but Viking. High on the second-floor balustrades, runic inscriptions hide in plain sight. One, carved in the 9th century, reads Halfdan was here, a crude but enduring mark left by a Norse mercenary serving the Byzantine emperor's elite Varangian guard. These warriors, lured from Scandinavia by gold and glory, scratched their names into the marble like medieval tourists. Another inscription, less decipherable, shows a serpentine dragon, possibly a protective symbol or a clan emblem. These runes are more than curiosities. They're proof of the Hagia Sophia's role as a crossroads of empires, where Viking axes once stood guard beneath Christian mosaics. Speaking of mosaics, the building's walls are palimpsests of faith. When the Hagia Sophia became a museum in the 1930s, restorers peeled back layers of Ottoman plaster to reveal glittering Byzantine artworks concealed for centuries. One, in the South Gallery, shows the Deces, a hauntingly lifelike Christ flanked by the Virgin Mary and John the Baptist, their eyes seeming to follow you across the room. But the real shock, the sheer scale of hidden art. Infrared scans suggest more mosaics lie buried, including possible depictions of long-lost emperors or even heretical imagery painted over during theological purges. Yet the building's greatest secret might be its acoustics. Stand beneath the central dome and whisper. The sound carries with unnatural clarity to specific spots across the cavernous space. Byzantine chronicles claim this was no accident. Architects embedded hollow clay pots into the walls to amplify chants while muffling echoes, creating a sonic hierarchy where priests' voices seemed divinely enhanced. Modern engineers have even detected a resonance frequency of 7 Hz, a vibration some believe was tuned to induce meditative states. From weeping stones to Viking signatures, from buried gold to engineered whispers, the Hagia Sophia isn't just a monument. It's a living ledger, its stones etched with the dreams, devotions, and defiance of everyone who ever walked its floors. To step inside is to hear 1,500 years of history arguing, praying, and echoing through the marble. The Tower of London's shadowed corridors have witnessed everything from royal coronations to beheadings, but its most enduring legends aren't written in history books, they're perched on its battlements. The tower's ravens, kept under royal decree since the 17th century, are more than just mascots. A chilling prophecy claims that if the 6 resident ravens ever leave, the kingdom will fall. To prevent this, the bird's wings are carefully clipped, a precaution so serious that during World War II, the ravens were evacuated to North Wales for safekeeping, treated as wartime assets alongside the crown jewels. But the real twist, the ravens might not even be native to Britain. Genetic testing reveals their ancestors likely hailed from the Arctic, brought to England as exotic pets or trading curiosities. So much for an ancient British omen, unless the prophecy never specified where the kingdom would fall. Step inside the Beauchamp Tower and the walls start talking literally. Etched into the stone are intricate carvings left by prisoners, some so elaborate they blur the line between vandalism and art. Sir Walter Raleigh, imprisoned here for 13 years, whittled his family crest into a windowsill as a silent act of defiance. Another inmate, Catholic priest John Gerard, carved a cryptic sundial into his cell wall, not just to mark time, but to secretly coordinate with allies outside. By tracking sunlight patterns, he timed coded messages smuggled in oranges hollowed out and stuffed with paper. Then there's the most haunting graffiti of all, a simple name, Jane, believed to refer to Lady Jane Grey, the 9-day queen executed at just 16. Was it carved by her or by someone mourning her? The tower won't say. Beneath all this lies the greatest treasure hunt in British history, the lost crown jewels. Officially, the jewels were stored in the tower's basement during World War II, but rumors persist that replicas were displayed while the real gems were hidden in a top-secret location. One theory points to Windsor Castle's underground tunnels, where crates labeled coronation regalia were spotted being moved under armed guard. Another claims they were sunk in a lake in Wales, wrapped in lead to avoid metal detectors. The most tantalizing clue, a 2005 renovation of the tower's jewel house, revealed a previously unknown chamber beneath the floor empty, but with marks suggesting heavy boxes had been stored there. Were these the jewels' true wartime hiding place? The Ministry of Culture refuses to comment, leaving the mystery tantalizingly open. From Arctic ravens to orange stuffed messages, from sundial codes to vanished gems, the Tower of London thrives on layers of deception. It's a fortress where history and myth share the same cell, and where every stone could be hiding a secret or just waiting for the right moment to reveal it. Buried beneath China's Shaanxi province lies an army frozen in time, 8,000 terracotta soldiers, each with a face so unique you'd swear they were molded from living men. When farmers stumbled upon this subterranean legion in 1974, they uncovered more than just art. They found a mirror of humanity. Archaeologists have catalogued over 600 distinct facial features: high cheekbones, almond eyes, even hairstyles knotted in regional fashions, suggesting the sculptors worked from real conscripts in Qin Shi Huang's army. But the individuality goes deeper than appearances. Some figures stand ramrod straight, their postures echoing elite palace guards. others crouch slightly as if ready to spring into battle. One archer's fingers still curve around a long-vanished bow, his expression locked in focused intensity. This wasn't mass production, it was immortality cast in clay. Then there's the arsenal. Excavations revealed over 40,000 bronze weapons, swords, crossbow triggers, even chariot blades, many so pristine they gleamed after 2 millennia underground. The secret, a layer of chromium oxide, a corrosion-resistant coating applied through a lost technique that predates modern electroplating by 2,000 years. These weren't ceremonial props. Real arrowheads found lodged in ancient fortifications match those buried with the army, proving the weapons were battlefield-ready. Some blades still bear microscopic grooves from sharpening, suggesting they were used before being entombed. Why coat weapons meant never to see daylight? Perhaps the emperor feared even the afterlife wouldn't spare him from rebellion, but the biggest mystery remains untouched. Qin Shi Huang's central tomb, sealed under a man-made mountain and guarded by rivers of liquid mercury. Ancient texts describe booby-trapped crossbows and a celestial map on the ceiling with pearls as stars, but modern archaeologists hesitate to excavate. Ground scans confirm mercury levels 60 times above normal, mirroring historical accounts of the tomb's flowing rivers. The emperor's obsession with mercury, drinking it in elixirs he believed granted immortality, may have poisoned his final resting place. Meanwhile, magnetic anomalies hint at vast metal structures underground, possibly an entire bronze palace waiting in the dark. From personalized soldiers to poisoned vaults, the terracotta army isn't just a burial complex. It's a time capsule of paranoia and precision, where every detail from a warrior's frown to a sword's molecular coating was engineered to outlast eternity. And at its heart, the greatest treasure of all remains just out of reach, daring us to risk everything for a glimpse of China's first emperor's ultimate secret. At first glance, the Washington Monument stands as a simple tribute to America's first president, but this towering obelisk is anything but ordinary. Crowned by a tiny aluminum pyramid, barely 9 inches tall, this unassuming capstone hides a trove of coded messages. Inscribed on its eastern face is a single Latin phrase, Laus Deo, meaning praise be to God. But flip it over and the other 3 sides reveal more. Dates of the monument's construction, names of its engineers, and even the exact coordinates of its cornerstone, details seemingly mundane until you realize aluminum was once rarer than gold. When the capstone was cast in 1884, this metal was so prized that it was displayed alongside the crown jewels at the Paris Exposition. The choice to use it here wasn't just practical, it was symbolic, a gleaming beacon meant to telegraph American ingenuity to the world. Then there's the monument's proportions, a nearly exact 50-to-1 ratio of height to width, mirroring the ancient Egyptian obelisks that inspired it. But the designers didn't stop at aesthetics. Stand at the base and look straight up. The monument's east-west alignment ensures that during the equinoxes, the shadow of its apex traces a perfect line along the National Mall's central axis, intersecting with key landmarks. Some historians argue this was deliberate, embedding celestial mechanics into the capital's layout. Others point to the Masonic ties of the monument's architects, noting how its position completes a symbolic triangle with the White House and Capitol building, a geometric nod to the great architect of the universe, a central Masonic concept. But the real intrigue lies beneath the surface. During a 2011 earthquake, sensors detected something unexpected. The monument's foundation isn't solid granite as long assumed. Core samples revealed voids and loosely packed rubble, a construction shortcut that likely saved costs but created a hidden instability. Engineers later discovered that the builders had also embedded glass bottles into the mortar, possibly as a makeshift time capsule or to improve acoustics during rituals. Even the monument's color changes, a subtle shift from pale to darker stone, a third of the way up, marks the 25-year pause in construction due to the Civil War. turning the obelisk into a literal timeline of national turmoil and resilience. From its celestial alignments to its Masonic fingerprints, the Washington Monument is more than a memorial. It's a cipher in plain sight, where every measurement, every material, and every shadow tells a story, not just of George Washington, but of the ambitions and anxieties of a young nation reaching for the sky. Whether you see it as a tribute, a temple, or a time capsule, one thing's certain: its secrets are built to last. Even in our modern age of glass and steel, monuments still whisper secrets, sometimes in plain sight. Take the Georgia Guidestones, a towering granite structure erected in 1980 in rural Georgia. Nicknamed America's Stonehenge, its 10 commandments for a post-apocalyptic world were carved in 8 languages from English to Swahili. The first rule: maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature, a chilling suggestion of population control that fueled conspiracy theories for decades. But the mystery deepened when the stones were mysteriously demolished in 2022, just hours after security cameras were disabled. Who commissioned them? The original plaque credited only R.C. Christian, a pseudonym for an anonymous group. Some believed they were neo-Malthusians warning of overpopulation. Others saw a shadowy elite's blueprint. Whatever the truth, their abrupt destruction erased more than stone. It buried the chance to ever fully decode their intent. Then there's the Vatican's secret archives, a name so dramatic it sounds like fiction. Though technically open to researchers since the 19th century, less than 1% of its 53 miles of shelves have been digitized or fully examined. Behind its iron doors lie documents like the Chinon parchment, which absolved the Knights Templar of heresy, 600 years too late to save them from execution. Or the Apocalypse of Peter, a 2nd century text describing heaven and hell so graphically the Church suppressed it for centuries. Even the archive's physical layout is coded. Shelves marked with cryptic symbols like AA for Armarium Antiquum, where the most controversial texts hide in plain sight. Historians still debate what remains undiscovered, from lost gospels to encrypted correspondence about suppressed scientific discoveries. Yet modern secrecy isn't always ominous. Consider the Crypt of Civilization, a sealed chamber beneath Atlanta's Oglethorpe University. Built in 1940, it's a time capsule meant to be opened in 8114, filled with everything from a toaster to recordings of Hitler's speeches. Its curators included microfilm instructions on how to rebuild civilization, but also whimsical choices: a doll, a bottle of Budweiser, leaving future archaeologists to wonder, was this reverence or satire? From doomsday granite to curated chaos, these monuments prove one thing: even today, we build not just for the present, but to puzzle the future. Across continents and centuries, hidden messages in monuments share uncanny similarities, as if ancient builders were all whispering the same secrets in different languages. Astronomy might be humanity's oldest shared code. From the Great Pyramid shafts pointing to Orion to Angkor Wat's celestial mirror of Draco, civilizations separated by oceans and millennia embedded star maps into stone. Why? Because the heavens were the one language everyone could read. Before borders or alphabets, the stars were a universal textbook. Farmers tracked them for planting, sailors for navigation, priests for prophecy. Encoding these patterns into monuments wasn't just practical. It was a way to freeze cosmic knowledge in time, ensuring future generations wouldn't lose their way when political empires crumbled. Then there's the darker thread: power carved in stone. The Parthenon's perfect imperfections, the Forbidden City's bird-proof roofs, the Colosseum's tiered seating, each was a masterclass in psychological control. Rulers didn't just build monuments, they weaponized awe. By aligning structures with celestial events, they claimed divine endorsement. By hiding propaganda in decorative friezes, they rewrote history without uttering a word. Even the materials spoke volumes. The Romans used imported marble like visual conquests. The Incas built earthquake-proof walls to showcase their mastery over nature. And China's Great Wall doubled as a billboard of imperial might with its rice mortar durability. These weren't just buildings, they were the original social media feeds broadcasting curated narratives to the masses, but the most poignant pattern. Monuments as time capsules, the terracotta army's individualized faces, the crypt of civilization's wartime artifacts, even the Washington Monument's aluminum capstone, all scream the same urgent plea: remember us. Some messages were practical, like Newgrange's solstice light guiding agricultural cycles. Others were existential, like Borobudur's stairway to enlightenment or the Georgia Guidestone's apocalyptic warnings. Whether carved in runes by Viking mercenaries or buried as relics beneath Qin Shi Huang's Mercury rivers, the impulse was identical: to outlast the fragility of human memory. What ties these threads together is the unshakable human need to be understood not just by contemporaries, but by strangers across time. The builders of these monuments were playing the ultimate long game, trusting that someone, someday, would care enough to decipher their clues. And in that, they succeeded, because here we are, centuries later, still staring at their stones and wondering what else they're trying to say. From buried armies whispering in terracotta to temples hiding star maps in plain sight, these monuments have proven one thing: history's greatest builders were masters of misdirection. Think about it: the Pantheon's oculus tracking solstices like a celestial spyglass, the Moai's submerged bodies scrawled with untranslated glyphs, even the Statue of Liberty's half-hidden chains. These weren't accidents. They were deliberate acts of defiance, devotion, or sometimes sheer survival. Why go to such lengths? Because stone outlasts paper. Dynasties fall, languages fade, but a message carved into the side of a mountain or encrypted in the tilt of a tower. That's a whisper across millennia. Some secrets were acts of rebellion, like the Tower of London's prisoners etching codes into walls, or the Alhambra's artisans slipping subversive poetry into floral patterns. Others were acts of love: Shah Jahan offsetting the Taj Mahal's tombs to protect his wife's remains, or Bartholdi allegedly molding Lady Liberty's face after his mother's. And then there were the warnings: Easter Island's Rongorongo tablets possibly documenting ecological collapse, or the Georgia Guidestone's eerie commandments for a depopulated future. Whether meant for gods, rivals, or unborn generations, these hidden layers reveal civilizations at their most human, ambitious, fearful, and utterly determined to be remembered. So here's the real question: what did they see that we're still missing? Maybe the Great Pyramid's undiscovered void holds texts that rewrite history. Maybe Qin Shi Huang's Mercury-filled tomb guards inventions lost to time. Or maybe, like the monks at Mont Saint-Michel, we're standing on palimpsests layer upon layer of meaning waiting to be peeled back. That's the thrill of it. Every crack in the stone, every alignment with the stars could be the next breadcrumb leading us deeper into the maze. Now it's your turn. Which monument's secrets left you sleepless? Were you captivated by the Sphinx's cosmic riddles, or did Prambanan's moral carvings strike a chord? Drop your favorite mystery in the comments, because history's greatest puzzles weren't meant to be solved alone. They're invitations passed hand to hand across centuries, asking us all, look closer, what do you see?